So, welcome back to another episode of the Dog Frolics with myself, Joe Nutkins, and of course with Merlin and Ripley. And Echo does tend to pop in and out while we are doing this as well. So I hope you've all had a good week, and I hope those with terriers and terrier breeds had fun celebrating National Terrier Day yesterday, the first one ever. If you did, what did you do? What did you get up to? Well, let us know, and I'll start a thread on Twitter under Cass and Tay at Cass and Tay to find out what you've been doing. So we are rapidly heading towards April now, where there are going to be a lot more chances to be out and about and doing things. The restrictions are starting to lower more and more gradually over the coming weeks. And if we have dogs, we are going to be likely to be doing a little bit more with them. And I have been receiving, in the last 2 weeks, I've been receiving so many messages from people in various formats asking me what they should be doing to help their dog socialisation, because they've got a puppy in the last 12 months and their dog is nervous when they go out for a walk or barking when they go out for a walk. And they're worried that when they start doing more with their dog, when they can travel a bit further or visit places, that it's going to be really difficult with their dog because their dog isn't, in inverted commas, well socialised. So what can they start doing? And so from a training perspective, obviously, yes, the last 12 months have been harder, but I've been actively encouraging people to continue doing lots and lots of elements of socialisation, because there is so much you can do. Even in the start of the first lockdown last year, where we literally had like one opportunity to go out to exercise per day, which meant dogs had short walks and they couldn't go very far, and you obviously couldn't see people, and it really was very quiet outside. There wasn't many cars on the road and many people at all. Even then, there were so many opportunities to work on socialisation with your puppy or new dog, that from a perspective of a dog trainer, and I've got a lot of colleagues that are obviously in the same boat as me, it's almost a little bit frustrating that people haven't been taking up the opportunities that they could have had. They've literally just people said to me, I'm going to wait, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to wait until we can do things in person and then do it all then. And I can't stress enough how important the early socialisation work is for all dogs, all breeds. If you've had a puppy from 8 weeks onwards, if you've had a puppy that's come to you as a rescue or a rehome or a foster, and maybe they're 6-7 months old, anything at all that you can be doing with them is going to help them for the rest of their lives. Basically, you're setting them up for a really good future. So what happens when puppies are really, really young is they're learning all the time. By the time you get a puppy come to you into your home, they are learning so many new experiences every single day. Every moment of every day is new to them. Okay, everything's new. So when something happens, as far as they're aware, that's normal. That's just what normally happens, because everything is so new to them. Yeah. So that's why it's such a good time to be introducing lots and lots and lots of experiences to them. Obviously, we want them as positive as possible. You can be there to help support them and make things positive. But they will bounce back much quicker. They will just learn that it's something that happens, and it's just going to help them later on in life. And so, we see dogs that haven't had socialisation as a young puppy, and then maybe they've gone into their forever home and they're a couple of years old, and they're literally spooked by so many things because they just haven't experienced them before and they don't know what it means. So getting this socialisation work done early just makes such a big difference. So I keep saying socialisation. What is socialisation? What am I referencing when I say this? Because socialisation means quite a lot of different things to different people. I run puppies and dog socialisation classes, and we occasionally have people that will inquire about training, and in their mind, there's going to just be a big free-for-all in the paddock or indoors, where all the puppies go off, lead and play and have a great time. And that just isn't what true socialisation actually is. That's playtime, that's part of, the whole experience, but that is not what socialization is, full stop. So definition wise, a well socialized puppy or dog is a dog that you can take anywhere, and an experience will happen that doesn't overly scare them and leave them as a quivering wreck on the floor. But also the other end of the spectrum isn't a situation that's going to cause them to be really, really overexcitable to the point where you can't get through to them. So it's a dog that you can take to somewhere new, or they have a new experience, or something happens. They might initially be a little bit surprised, as in the same way that we would, but they can recover quite quickly and think, oh, okay, that's fine. You know, I've got my mum, my dad, you know, other dogs that I'm in my household. They're all fine as well. Therefore, it can't be a big deal. And that's it. That's all you need. They might go investigate, even better. But that's what we want from a well socialized puppy or adult dog. So what it isn't is puppies that see another dog and just automatically race over to them and start playing, no matter what the other dog is doing. It isn't that your puppy or your dog is racing over to every single person that they see constantly, and just wants to interact with them, even if the other person clearly is scared of dogs, doesn't like dogs, isn't sure about them. Then, or, you know, might have children with them that are scared of dogs, and the child's crying and your puppy is still racing around, jumping up, trying to get their attention. You know, that's not good socialization. That's over the top excitement. So, you know, it also isn't that your puppy goes somewhere or your dog goes somewhere and, you know, they hear some noises or something, car goes past, and they dart under a chair, quivering and shaking, and they really don't know what to do and they can't come out again. And likewise, they're not going out for a walk somewhere and I don't know, something's moving in the distance, there's some plants in someone's front garden moving, or you go down to the beach and something's blowing in the breeze, things like that, and your dog is bouncing about all over the shop. Absolutely no chance of gaining any focus back, pulling the lead left, right and centre, because they're so excited. So all of that, that's not what we think of in dog training terms when we think of socialisation. Okay, that's a dog that's so excited or too nervous or whatever it might be. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to tell anybody off. There is, you know, you look up socialization online, and depending on what you read and where you're looking, you're going to get all kinds of different responses. So if you go on good old Facebook and you go into some dog groups, you know, puppy fun groups or whatever it might be, and ask, you know, I want to get my puppy socialized, what do I need to do? You're going to get all sorts of answers, because most of the people on there are people that have dogs and love dogs, and maybe have had exceptional dogs that they haven't needed to do much work with. And you're going to get lots of different answers, and not all of them are going to be right in general. And not all of them are going to be right for your own dog and your own situation. So it needs to be right for you. Okay, so just to bear that in mind. It's not too late, you know, if you have had a puppy several months ago and they're maybe now reaching sort of 10 to 12 months and they are really, really boisterous or really, really scared or barky or growly or whatever it might be, it's certainly not too late. Or you might have an adult dog that's never been particularly social, and maybe the last 12 months have made it worse, or you've moved somewhere where now there's more people or dogs or whatever it might be, and you're noticing it more. It's not too late. There's still lots that can be done, but it does obviously need to be tailored a little bit more to your own dog's personality, needs, your lifestyle, what it is that's causing your dog to be over the top excited or nervous or whatever it might be. So there are lots of things that can still be done. Okay. Now, if we were in normal times, again in inverted commas, then I would be recommending socialization being to get your puppy and dog experiencing as many things as possible. So that would include family visits, so inviting family members around to your house so that your dog can get used to people coming in, having greetings, being handled, having people coming into the home, the fact that, you know, they can get away from people coming into the home, but that the person's still going to be there when they come back out of hiding, things like that. People are going to be there. um, going to friends, so actually taking your puppy somewhere or dog somewhere else, round to a friend or a neighbour or a family member, so they can get used to being in a new environment, new garden, new house, new smells, sights, sounds, etc. And that they can learn that things like house training are still the same, and that if you're asking them to sit or whatever it might be, it's the same in the new location as it is when they're at home. It doesn't change. It's all the same. It helps with generalisation. Okay. It might be that you go to training classes so that your puppy can be used to having other dogs in the vicinity. They can get used to focusing and listening in a different environment to the one they have at home, seeing different people being there, different items, different equipment, things like that. So normal ways to socialize when it comes to people and dogs would be things like that. But that doesn't end there. I'd also be encouraging to let your dog hear lots of different sounds, to go to lots of different places to walk them, so they get used to being on lots of different terrain and things like that. I would be encouraging that you play with your dog in as many rooms of the house as you can. Try playing with them outside in the garden if you've got different surfaces out there. So if you've got maybe decking and grass, play with them on both, because it's really good for your dog, and especially for young puppies, to get used to different textures and floor surfaces, and just being able to interact with you and focus with you and have fun and positive experiences in as many different places as possible. Because then if you take them somewhere brand new, they are less likely to be worried about it and more likely to just think, that's fine, it's just another place. I've been to loads. It doesn't bother me. If they only ever go for a walk around your block and then home again, and then one day you decide to take them further afield, or you're going on holiday with them, and so their walks are in woodlands or on the beach, just for examples, then that could be quite big experiences for your dogs, especially if they reach adulthood and they haven't done that before. And I have, in fact, last week I saw it was a puppy, but an older puppy. It was its second time to the beach, and literally was freaking out. It was pulling back. The harness was nearly over its head. The owners were doing their absolute best, and they were trying to kind of just pull the dog really along. It didn't want to go down the ramp to get onto the promenade. It then stood there and wasn't sure. It seemed quite happy to see my dogs. Got onto the beach again, wasn't too sure what was under its feet. And just really wasn't sure about it. I remember actually Taylor, bless his heart, considering the beach always ended up being his favourite place, the first time he actually put his feet on sand, I'm trying to think, probably 5 or 6 months old. It was when I wasn't living in Clacton at the time. I was in Braintree. So he hadn't seen the sand, he hadn't seen the beach, whereas Cassie had. And we took him down there thinking, oh, he's going to love this. And he came down the slope, just trotted along merrily, followed Cassie. As soon as his feet touched the sand, and because it moved under his feet and was in a weird texture, he literally jumped in the air to land back on the concrete slope. He did not know what to do with that sand at all, which, even for me, hadn't really crossed my mind that sand might be weird for him, because he'd been on so many different other surfaces and things like that. So, I just did some work with him, did some fun stuff on the slope, encouraged him to kind of touch the sand and come back up again a little bit, sand that was on the slope, so there wasn't much there. And then did some sort of fun bits and pieces with him on the sand, and he was fine. And do you know what? His favourite walk became the beach, and his last ever walk was on Christmas Day, bless him, a couple of years ago, on the beach, and he had the whale of a time, had a ball. But his first experience was very, very traumatic and scary, because he'd never done it before. So, taking them to so many different places, different textures, different things to see and feel and experience, you can do so much. And you've only actually got a short amount of time, because they're not puppies for very long at the end of the day. So it's getting as many experiences as you possibly can. And I do actually, I did a webinar early last year, sort of this time last year, which was all about socializing and things that you can do with your dog. And there was a checklist on there as well and things like that. And I mean, that's available if anyone wants that, pop your message on Twitter at Cass and Tay, pop it on Facebook, contact us at Dog Training for Essex and Suffolk, or WhatsApp me on 078 091179112, and I can pop the information over, give you the webinar and the list, the checklist, so you can be following that. That's no problem at all. It's there for people to use. You know, I don't want puppies to be nervous when they're older, or over the top boisterous. I want puppies to be, you know, happy in their environment and able to go places. So yeah, so normal ways to socialize. Some of it I appreciate is going to be different while we're in a lockdown, or have been in a lockdown. But there's so many things that you could be doing and should be doing with your dogs. So there's loads and loads of things. So for example, types of things that I would tick off my list would be making sure that my puppy has gone into different rooms of the house while different appliances are on. So they hear the washing machine and the dishwasher, they hear the bath running, they hear the TV on and the radio on, if you've got a radio. They hear, you know, noises from outside. So maybe have a window open so they can hear traffic going past. Take them out in the garden and play and race around and do things with them while things are going on outside. So at the moment, thankfully, I can't hear it this part of the bungalow, but my next door neighbours, I don't know what they're doing. They're banging something, but they're doing a little bit of work on their house. So that would be a really good chance for me to maybe not go right outside. I might maybe go into the conservatory first, because then my puppy can hear the noise by not being too close, and do a bit of play and a bit of fun stuff. And then we might try, if they're okay, I might then try going outside at the other end of the garden and then get closer and closer and just build them up. So that way, the next time they hear DIY happening in another household, it's not going to scare them or worry them or feel like they have to let me know about it. It'll just be something that happens. It's fine. So you know, just getting them used to all these different things that they can be doing, different, like I say, textures and sights, you know, having things in your hands that they haven't seen before, moving things around, let them see that you've moved a chair from one side of the room to the other, that doors close and open again, things like that. They might not seem very important to your dog, but the more they see happen and experience while they're young, the more it's just the norm. It's just what happens. And it makes life so much easier for your dog when they're older, because, you know, things don't faze them as much. I can give you a really good example, actually. It's my duck, it's Echo, my house duck. Now, she obviously, well, not obviously, you might not know, she was in an incubator when she was hatched. So she was chirping, and I'd chirp back, of course, for several days before she actually hatched. So that's how aware she would have been. Okay, so she was in the house. So I'm in a bungalow, you can't really get to any room without anyone else in the house hearing what you're doing. So she would have heard me doing general stuff around the house. Okay, and that includes preparing my dog's food. Now, Merlin and Ripley are on a raw fed diet, and I do a DIY raw, so that means that they also have lots of bones. And I chop them smaller because, you know, weight wise, they don't need to be having more than they need. And I'll chop them up with a cleaver. And Echo would have heard that as she was growing and developing, and it just became a noise in the background. And even now, it still surprises me, actually. I still find it quite funny that I can be chopping away merrily, making a hell of a noise with a giant meat cleaver in my hand, cutting up all sorts of bits and pieces, lamb ribs and goodness knows what else for the dogs. And Echo and Ripley and Merlin are just sitting at my feet waiting to see if anything drops down or not. I mean, Echo's obviously hoping for salad. But, you know, they don't flinch, even as it bangs. There's times that I bang harder than I realise, or I miss what I'm cutting completely, and it makes me jump. Yeah, I see the dogs, or if John's cutting it up and I'm watching them, they literally don't flinch. They're just not bothered at all. Yet in theory, you know, that should be quite weird for a duck, or even for dogs, really. And I'm quite sure if I brought any of my ducks in from outside, you know, they've not lived in the house. They've come, the youngest ones were in the house from 3 weeks old, but then they went out at about 9 or 10 weeks. And the rescue ducks, they've literally come in a couple of times for a bath and to have their feet checked, and that's it. So they haven't had experiences with household noise. So if the rescue ducks were inside and I then started doing my dog's food, I would fully expect them to freak out, to try and get away, not know what the noise was or what I was doing or what I was holding in my hand. and for it to be a really scary experience. But because Echo has experienced it from so young, it's just something that happens. It doesn't bother her at all, which is obviously absolutely brilliant. You know, the room that she's in has got the washing machine in it that can be on. And again, I've seen her on the camera. She just sticks her head under her wing, goes to sleep. Yeah, couldn't care less. It's fine. So, you know, it's not a dog, but it is still a pet, still an animal. And it's just to give an example that doing things from early can really help your dog later on in life. And they remember, it imprints, okay, when they're young. Between 8 and 14 weeks old, they have this fear imprint stage and a general imprint stage where things that happen stay with them pretty much. So that's why we recommend lots of positive experiences and doing lots of fun things, because they also bounce back much quicker when they're younger as well. So if you did go somewhere with your dog and maybe suddenly, I don't know, a bus goes flying past and the air brakes go on very close by and it makes your puppy jump, you can do something fun with them and they're more likely to go, oh, okay, it's just something that happens, than if your dog is maybe 8 or 9, that's the first time it happens, and it absolutely freaks them out because they're going to wonder what on earth's going on. Okay, they don't always bounce back as quickly the older they get. Okay, so I hope this is making sense. I'm not just waffling. I hope this is going to be helping some people. So, what on earth can we be doing in lockdown? What can you be doing from this point on? Because though some restrictions are easing up, not all of them are. It might be that you are planning on coming to training classes, but of course the classes that you are looking at might be booked. You know, for example, most of the classes that will be starting up in the next few weeks are actually continued from the end of last year, where we had to stop on the 23rd of December was the last time that I actually did any in-person proper training. And I've got courses, quite a few courses that still need to run. They're only a few weeks in. So people joining up for classes now, a lot of them are going to have to wait for the next set of courses, which is still going to be a few months' time. And you're going to find that in quite a lot of places. So even if you are thinking, well, we can start doing some things with our dogs, but a lot of restrictions aren't lifted yet, there is still a lot that you can be doing. Okay. So for example, a majority of pet shops have been able to stay open throughout most of the lockdowns because they are considered essential due to the fact they sell pet food. Okay. So if you have a pet, they need to eat, and they sell pet food and first aid supplies and things like that. So they have been able to stay open. Majority of pet shops will allow you to take your animals in, and of course the majority of animals will be dogs. You don't get many other dogs there, many other pets there, but you can take your puppy to the pet store and they can experience being in a new location. They can experience seeing maybe the people that work in the pet store. If you've got a lead that's not too short, then your puppy could go over and say hello to people. If you're worried about people touching your dog and potentially, passing on anything via their fur, then you can use, really good sprays and things, or wipes on your dog's fur to stop that, or ask that people obviously clean their hands before they do it. So at my training and at home, we use something called Lucillin spray, which is pH neutral, and you can use it with people, dogs, cats, birds, reptiles, you name it. You can use it with anything because it is pH neutral, and it is actually certified it was tested last year to kill off the coronavirus. There's no other words needed. So there are things out there, and it's really safe for pets as well. Absolutely fine for pets. I use it, if any of them get a cut or anything, I use it, including if any of the birds get pecked by the others and they end up bleeding, I use it on them as well. So you could do something like that, or like I say, just ask that the people that are going to touch your dog put gloves on, or spray their hands or something like that. But just be aware that what they use on their hands might smell different to what you're using on your hands, so that might then be a little bit weird for your dog at first. But yeah, if you've got them on a long enough lead, you could then, that person can crouch down and call your dog over to them, give them a little fuss, handle them. You can ask them to handle them, talk to them. You could chuck over some treats and see if they'll do some bits with them, you know, some little fun games. They might give paw, they might do a nose touch. It might be that you ask them, you know, could you just handle their ears for me, and maybe just, you know, touch their feet, just to get them used to it. If you're planning on showing your dog, do breed showing, you might ask someone else, you know, or would you mind just having a quick, you know, check of the teeth and just have a good feel over the body. You know, whatever it is you need your dog to be doing, you could do that. You can, if there's a table in the pet shop, you can ask, or even the counter, would you mind if I just pop my dog up here so you can have a quick, you know, hello with them. It's just experiences, okay? Stay safe yourselves, make sure your dogs are safe, but you can take them to places where there are people, and there may even be other dogs there as well. So again, you know, you can speak to another owner and say, oh, would your dog like to just have a very quick sniff hello? I'm trying to get some socialisation done. Would you mind? And if they say that that's absolutely fine, then you can let them. If the dogs want to say hello, they can go over, have a quick sniff. You can praise them. Oh, that's really good. What a good dog. Right, come back to me now, have a fuss and a treat, and we'll get on with what we're doing. That's all you need to do. It doesn't have to be a full-blown playtime session for an hour. A quick hello, sniff, and move away is a positive experience, and it teaches that, you know, you're on lead. You don't need to go into full-blown play. If they're really not sure, they don't want to go over to that dog and they hide behind you, that's fine. Move them away a little bit. Just, oh, you know, today's not their day. Thank you anyway. Move your dog a little bit further away so they've got a bit of distance. Get a treat or a toy. You know, you're in a pet shop, you should have some choice, and see, you know, will they interact with you then? You know, make it a positive experience. Even if they didn't want to go and say hello, you can make it positive. Opposite way around, you know, if you do meet another person with a dog in a pet shop, and your dog is really excited and they're jumping up and down and they're pulling on the lead, then, you know, again, I wouldn't let them go over and say hello while they're doing that, because they'll learn very quickly that if I want to go and say hello, I do this and I get there quicker. Instead, if you can just ask the person, just bear me 1 second, bring your dog slightly further away from them, because you're more likely to get their attention. Offer them again, say, oh, do you want to play? Do you want a treat? Do you want this? See if you can get them to do something. Do they know how to do twists and spins? Can they do a paw? Can they sit? Give them the treat, give them the toy for a second, and then, okay, let's go and meet this dog now. So they actually start learning that if I want to go and say hello, I kind of need to be a little bit calmer first, because the other dog might not like it. You know, the other dog might be doing socializing, and actually that can scare that puppy for life if you've got a dog that wants to just pounce on them, you know, even in play, even in friendliness. That could be too much, and vice versa. You know, if you're about to go and let your dog say hello to a new dog and that dog is absolutely bonkers, then, and your dog's not sure, you don't have to let them go and see it. You can say, oh, they're not sure, I think I'll just give them a little bit of space, thank you anyway. They might be, you know, they might want to in a minute perhaps, and just take them away. Protect your dog, it's your puppy. They don't, you know, you don't have to be too polite that you make your dog go into a situation that they're scared about. Take them away, give them some space, let them, you know, get over the situation and not feel overwhelmed. Realize that you're there to protect them, which obviously we are. And that will help them. If you force them in a situation they don't want to be in, that's a really bad experience for them, and they're not going to want to be around lots and lots of dogs in the future. They might not want to go into a pet shop in the future. So, you know, early experiences, make them as good as you possibly can. Even if the actual experience isn't going to be good and you can't avoid it, make it as good as you can. Give your dog a bit of space, give them somewhere to go to, let them go behind you if needed, you know, and then once that experience is passed, do something fun. Take them outside, let them have a quick run around with you if need be. Take them out to go to the loo if that's what they need. Yeah, so working with your dog. So pet shops is something that you can utilise. Do you have a dog walker? If you have a dog walker, you can be asking that when they come pick up your dog and while they're out with them, can they be doing things with them as well? So chances are you walk your dog at some point, might be when you're not at work perhaps. But while your dog walker's got them, you know, get them to practice recall, ask them to do some fun games, ask them to take a toy out, and if there's a quiet part on the walk, have a little game with them. Check if they can take them to other places sometimes. So maybe they've got a little bit of a longer session. It might just be once every couple of weeks. Ask, can they take them not where you normally go, but can they go somewhere different? So it's a different environment. So they can meet different dogs. you know, because they're likely to see the same dogs and people where they go to. So if you're taking them out, again, I know I've said different places, but it might be it's a field, but different fields that you go to. So then each time they get to see different dogs. That way they're more likely to see different breeds, different ages, different characters. They're more likely to experience different people, because you want them to obviously get to at least see, even if they can't be near them, people that are male and female, young people, like really young children, teenagers, adults, elderly people, people that wear perfume, people that may have been smoking, you know, things like that, you know, different smells, different sights, different sounds, all of that. So you want them to meet puppies and adult dogs, not just puppies, because adult dogs will do things differently. You want them to meet big breeds and small breeds, long hair, short hair, different colour dogs, because, you know, different colour dogs will obviously look different to your puppy. So taking them to lots of different places to walk them, or going the opposite way around a route, or going at different times of the day, that will help them to just see lots of different animals. Okay. So they're the sorts of things that we can be doing. Yeah. Other things, you know, in your own household, it might be that the dog is your dog, but you live in a household where there are other family members, or you share a house with someone else, or, you know, whatever it might be. Encourage everyone to have some dealings with your puppy or your dog. Ask everyone to do some handling with them at some point, even if it's just stroking them. Everyone to do a little bit of grooming. Everyone can do a bit of feeding. Yeah, everyone could do a little bit of fun training with them, even if it's just teaching them a trick. It doesn't have to be obedience based. It can just be something a little bit silly. But if everyone joins in with that, then your pup is going to get used to, again, different voices, body language from different people, because we all do things differently. They'll get used to how people work with them. So some might sit on the floor, some might sit on the sofa, some might lean over them, and it will all be very, very different. So, you know, utilize people in your home. For example, my dogs love my husband. He'll come home from work, he'll sit on the sofa, Ripley instantly gets on his lap, and Merlin will snuggle up next to him because I'm normally still doing something. But he doesn't do training with them, you know, particularly. He doesn't go outside with them in the garden when they need to go to the loo, you know, things like that. So he doesn't groom them, doesn't brush the teeth, you know, all of that sort of thing. So if he did more of that, if I had puppies, I would be making sure that he does much more of that stuff, just so my puppy can get used to someone else doing it, because how I groom them will be different to how he grooms them. And I've seen him grooming John. Don't drag the comb through the fur. No, he does a good job once he remembers what he's doing. So yeah, you know, utilize people in the household, get people to help out. Again, if you might be out on a walk, and then there's, you know, if your dog's on lead or off lead, you may well see, if you're somewhere that's safe to do so, if you see someone approaching with a dog, you could just sort of call out and say, oh, I will cross over so we don't have to pass too closely. But I'm wondering, you know, if your puppy might like, or if your dog would like to just have a quick hi with mine, because I'd like them to see some nice friendly dogs. And it might be you've seen that dog before and you know that they're quite friendly with other dogs. You know, ask them first. Don't just go up to them, because, you know, their dog might not appreciate it. But check first. And if you've got long enough leads that the dogs can meet without you needing to get too close to the other owner, let them again, it's a quick sniff, 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 sniff. Yeah, that's good. They might sniff each other's noses, they might sniff each other's bums, and then, yeah, that's really good, come on then. So you're not only keeping it a positive experience, doesn't get to the point where either dog feels pressured into the situation, but you're also helping your dog learn that if I go and see a dog and then I come back to mum or dad, I can get a treat, I get a big fuss, they're really pleased with me, we get to carry on with our walk, and it's going to help overall with focus and recall and being safe. Okay. If there's a dog that you see quite a lot on your walks that tends to bark at other dogs, it might be in play, but they're barking, they're bouncing, they like to paw them or jump on them or things like that. And the puppy that you've got is maybe a bit sensitive, or they're really, really, really young, or they're tiny breed perhaps, then that might not be the right dog for your dog to meet. And if that other owner says, oh, would you like them to meet? You can literally just say, to be honest, they're a bit tired, or they're a little bit unsure, they're a bit nervy. I'm just trying to build their confidence up first, but thank you anyway, and move on. Don't say, okay, well, I suppose I should because they've asked now. You can say no. Put your own puppy first and do what's right for them. Okay, we are so, for want of a better term, we're so British about things. Even if we're not British, we are so British about things that we don't like upsetting people, and we kind of want to go, oh, I'm not sure, but I don't want to say no. Say no, thank you. Really kind of you to ask, but they're not quite ready. Find a different dog. Find a dog that works. It could be that the bouncy, boisterous dog coming down the street is exactly what your puppy likes. So then, yeah, they can say hello if you want them to. And they don't particularly like the really quiet dog. They just show no interest in them. Whatever's right for your dog. It's your puppy, it's your dog. You're the person that's there with them. So, decide what works best for them and help them. Okay. If they go to say hello, or a person says, oh, can I say hello to your dog, and they crouch down, and your puppy sort of looks at them and isn't sure, and comes back and stands behind you, you don't then need to pull them out with the lead and say, no, you have to go and see that person. Think of it from a dog's perspective. It could be that person is very, very tall. It could be that they wash their clothes in a different laundry detergent to you, so it smells different. It could be that a car's gone past and Merlin is letting you know. Merlin, come on, mate. Oh, what a good boy. Down. Oh, good boy. And Ripley can have one for being a good girl. Okay. So I've called Merlin away from the window. Just asked him to do something before I gave him a treat, because I don't want to obviously treat him for going to the window. Do we, mister? Hey. So now he's laying down next to me. That's better, isn't it, baby? Oh, fur's cold. So they might have different laundry detergents, so it smells different to your clothes. Again, they might be wearing strong perfume. It could be that they're wearing a different deodorant. All sorts of things. They could have animals in their house that's they've got the scent on them that your dog's not used to, and that's going to confuse them a little bit. There could be someone that smokes or uses a vapor, or any of these things can be different for your dog. They might be wearing a hat and they're not used to that, or holding an umbrella. There could be so many reasons why your puppy doesn't want to go and see someone. And, they haven't got to take it personally. You can literally just say, oh dear, you're not too sure. And just say, oh, they're not sure. Thank you. I'm sure they'll come and visit you another time when we see you on a walk. They're just not too sure today. So again, just go back a few steps, give them a little bit of space. That's all right. You're a good dog. Let's cross over then, because you're going to cross anyway, so you don't have to go really close to that person due to the coronavirus. And then just be on your merry way. And again, see if you can do twist and spins, or do some nose touches, or paws, or whatever it might be. Roll a couple of treats on the floor for your puppy to chase if you want. Grab a toy out your pocket and get them to play. It's then making that a nice experience. Okay, there was a person I wasn't sure about, but I was allowed to stay behind mum or dad, and then we did something fun. Oh, okay, well, that's not so bad then. And that will help them with that positive association. Okay. So again, utilise the people and dogs that you are meeting out and about. They don't always have to go up and say hello to each other, but you can make it a nice experience for them when they are seeing them. You can do video calls, and a lot of us have been doing Zooms and Facebook Lives and all sorts of bits and pieces online the last 12 months. And I know that a lot of people that have been getting puppies have had breeders that have been really, really great, or rescue centres that have been really, really great in that they do video calls so that the puppy or the dog can actually kind of see the person. They can hear their voice, get used to their laugh, things like that. Then they can be talking to them. And although it's not the same as the real thing, because they haven't got, the scent to go with it and things like that, it's a start. It means when they meet that person, they've at least heard their voice before. It means they've at least seen them to some degree. Not all dogs can kind of watch screens and take in what they're seeing, but a lot can. My dogs, I mentioned before about canine flow, and we had Victoria talking about canine flow and relaxed dog class and things like that early. And we do that once a month, and I did something with Victoria the other day. Oh, that was it. She was doing an online session talking about something else with dogs. And I was just listening in. As soon as I started listening in, the dogs just came over to me and settled down and went to sleep because they assumed it was going to be canine flow. So they do get used to hearing people's voices. You know, when I've done some of the Facebook lives and tricks and things like that online and done the classes, people write in the comments laughing, saying, my dog's just heard your voice and they're now trying to find you in the screen, you know, in the back of the TV or the back of the laptop. And when I've got a friend's dog, Piper, which is who Merlin did Britain's Got Talent with from the other week. When Piper hears me talking and I go, hello, Piper, she clambers all over the keyboard of the laptop because she's trying to work out where I am. But they do see each other. You know, when my mum's talking on Zoom, my dogs will come and sit on my lap and they're looking at the screen because they recognise my mum. So you can make use of video calls and FaceTimes and Zooms and things like this. Just to get your dog used to, again, hearing lots of different voices and knowing that voices do exist, because otherwise, if they've only ever heard your voice for the first few weeks and months of their life, that's going to be quite bizarre to them. You know, they might have heard their breeder's voice and yours, and that might have been it. So, you know, yeah, utilize those. It doesn't even have to be a video. It can just be on speakerphone. You know, having the TV on can make a difference. If you don't have a TV, maybe listen to some podcasts or put some webinars on or put YouTube on, something like that, just to help your dog get used to hearing these different bits and pieces. If you've got a friend that's got a dog, and it's a dog again that is a friendly dog, then if they don't live too far from you, you could perhaps see if they can walk their dog at a similar time to you're going to be walking your dog. And that way then at some point you will see each other on the walk and you can work on letting your dog say hello, praise them, come back to you, give them a fuss. And then if they want to go back and see each other, maybe they can, you know, do that a couple of times and then carry on with your walk again. It might be that you're going somewhere that's got a lot of space and you can actually meet up and walk at distance so that you're socially distancing from each other. But the dogs can be going on the walk together. You know, they can be sniffing things, they might be on lead, they might be off lead. You know, it's entirely up to you what you're doing with your dogs. What's the matter, Ripley? Are you asking for something? Ripley's now scrapping the floor with her foot because she's asking. It normally means she's asking to go out, but she's been out about 40 minutes ago, so I know she doesn't need to go out to the loo. Are you asking for a treat, you naughty little girl? Hey, a naughty little girl. So utilise that. If you don't have any friends with dogs, you could still ask a friend or someone or neighbour, you know, that likes dogs. You know, would they mind coming out for a little walk just so you can sort of pass by and they can say hello on the walk? That can still work just as well. Sorry, Ripley and Merlin are probably going to go into play mode now, so you may get some terrier noises under the table. The garden, your own garden, can be brilliant. You can play outside with your dog, with a toy, have fun with them, run around, let them chase you, whatever it might be, while neighbours are doing lawn mowing, gardening, DIY in my case. You know, while the next door neighbour's dog is out, you could be doing stuff with yours. It might be that someone down the road's got children playing outside, so you can be playing with your dog, so they get used to hearing it. Where I am, there is a school down the road. So, you know, a couple of times a day, you obviously hear them outside playing. And then you hear a teacher call them back in again, things like that. So there's that sort of noise that they can be hearing. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. One of the things when I first moved into where I am now, that Merlin wasn't used to, because when he was much, much younger, we stayed with John's parents for quite a few months. And that was a completely detached house where the neighbour on one side pretty much didn't come out and the neighbours on the other side didn't really hear anything. So Merlin spent his the first few months just being used to having a really, really, really quiet environment, nothing going on whatsoever. So although he was socialised in that he went to see lots of dogs and lots of people and lots of places, his home life was really, really quiet. So then when we moved to where we are now, the bus stop is outside our next door neighbour's house, and people will gather at the bus stop, and of course people chat at bus stops. So he'd be outside in the garden and he'd hear people. I don't know why people talk so loudly at a bus stop, but they do. And they'd be talking loudly and there'd be all different types of laughter. And that was just something he wasn't used to having from his back garden. He didn't know what that meant. And so he would sort of look and he'd bark a bit and he'd race over and try and work out what it was. So I did exactly the same as I would do if that was a puppy, even though he was sort of, just over a year old by then. I took him to the opposite end of the garden so that the noise was slightly further away, and got some toys, got some treats, and did lots of fun stuff with him. And then gradually got closer and closer and closer. And anytime we went outside in the garden, I went out with him so that if there was anything going on that he could hear, as soon as he paused to listen, I could get that attention on me. Melin, good boy. Run him over to the other side of the garden, do some fun stuff with him. And he just got used to hearing the voices and the laughter and the noise. He got used to hearing all of that going on. And it doesn't bother him now, literally. I mean, obviously he's 9, he's got used to it now. But it took a couple of weeks and he literally then got used to the fact that it would happen and he'd go out. And unless it was a really, really, really unusual sound that was happening, maybe someone shouting across the road, certainly the first time he heard our bin men shouting at each other, that was a shock to his system. So again, I did the same thing, helped him through it. But because he's done so many experiences and so many things, and he knows that I'm only here for his best interests, entirely, he could learn very, very quickly to not respond to it. Okay, so because I'd done so much with him as a puppy, he picked it up very quickly. So, utilize the garden if you've got a front garden that you're happy to be in. So we've got a driveway, it's got a fence up, people aren't going to get close to us. But he can see people passing from the open part of the driveway. Thank you, Mel. Then I could utilise that. Again, I can do some play, I could have him on lead, I could just be doing some fun bits, some tricks or whatever, and just get him seeing people passing by. We have a lady that lives on the estate that has got an invalid carriage, so when that goes past, and we've got another lovely, lovely elderly couple, and the husband pushes the wife in her wheelchair, and my guys know that they want to say hello, so they just run up to them and say hello and put their paws on the wheelchair wheels so that the lady can reach them and stuff. The first time I saw a wheelchair, that would have been strange to them. So, just utilising where you are for noises and people passing and things like that. Merlin, it's all right, mate. It's all right, isn't it? So Merlin's watching the TV and there's someone brandishing a guitar. Is that worrying for you? You're not sure what that means? It's fine, baby. Yeah, utilise your garden, your driveway, front garden, back garden, whatever it might be, place of work, whatever it might be, utilise it. Good boy, Merlin, aren't you? So there's lots and lots of things that you can certainly be doing. Socialisation isn't just people and dogs, which is what a lot of people think it is, but it actually isn't. Socialisation is so many things. I keep mentioning things in passing, but there's so many things that you can be doing with your dog, even if you can't get out at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start talking about that again in a moment. I think we'll stop for a bit of a music break. I'm going to have a quick drink, wet the throat, and we'll come back into it. We haven't got a huge amount more to talk about for this. We're going to move on to some more stuff soon, but I would like to just kind of finish some socialising for puppies and adult dogs so that hopefully we can help a few dogs out. So let's have a little bit of music and I'll speak to you in a second. And we're back again. So we are just continuing to talk about socialisation. So socialisation is mostly considered for puppies, but it is also something that can be used with older dogs of all ages as well. It just changes slightly when it's for different ages of dogs. But things that you can be doing. So you've got your puppy, especially younger, but any puppy, and you're thinking, I still need to do socialisation, but what can I be doing? We've covered some things that you can be doing that involves people and dogs, but there are so many things that you can be doing. So don't forget grooming, okay? Doesn't matter what type of dog you've got and what type of fur they've got. There is something you could be doing that involves the grooming side of things, because grooming is really important. Um, Dogs that haven't got fur will still, can still benefit from having either your hands running over them or like a massage glove going over the body, because it will help stimulate the natural oils to come through, and that helps keep the skin nice and healthy. Dogs that have got really short fur still molt, okay? So actually, again, going over them with the grooming gloves, things like that, or you can get different types of brushes that are made of different types, like rubber, and as you put that through the fur, it actually helps bring out a surprising amount of fur comes out of short-coated dogs sometimes. And of course, the longer coated dogs, while they're very, very young and their coat is still very thin and puppy-like and not very long, best time to start doing some grooming with them. Get them used to a wide tooth comb, help not have mats in the fur. Don't just do it along the back. This is what, bless him, when John grooms the dogs, they literally have a very lovely, lovely groomed back with no knots in whatsoever. But the beard still looks like some kind of tapestry that we've created. Eyebrows are still knotted. The furnishings down the legs are still looking a bit weird. And they normally have a huge butt because that hasn't been done either. And with my dogs, with Norwich Terriers, you strip them out. So as John's doing the back, he's getting out lots of loose fur that needs to come. So the back looks really nice, and everything else just looks really bizarre because it all needs to be done. Don't just do the back of the body, do the on the head, do the fronts of the legs, do the paws. You can be really gentle. You don't have to do a full grooming session. It can just literally be running a wide tooth comb over the body, and just to prevent the mats from happening. The sorts of places that mats can happen without maybe realising are certainly behind the ears, especially if you've got a drop-eared dog. Again, down the backs of the legs where the furnishings are, underneath the backs of the legs, of the backs of the back legs, that is, sort of those areas. If they've got long fur on the tail, then that can get matted. So it's then just making sure that it's done. And if you've got a doodly kind of breed, it might appear that the ends of the fur are mat free and look good and don't need grooming, but it's actually the fur that's closest to the skin that needs addressing. And so often, poor groomers receive a dog in that's got, is a doodle of some sort, and they say, "Oh, can you just give them a quick trim? I don't want it too short." And when they go to put the comb through properly, they actually can't move it because the fur next to the skin that can't be seen very easily is so matted, and the skin is so tight that the whole thing just needs shaving and starting again. Whereas if you put a comb through your dog's fur once a day, just to go through the fur, just to make sure that there isn't any mats happening, you can keep the longer comb, but it's the stuff that you can't see often. So with my guys, like I say, if you just took something very light, a very light bristle brush to go over the top of the fur, that's literally all you're going to do. They're double coated. The coat underneath won't get touched, and they'll have so much fur under there that needs to come out. It will be uncomfortable for them. It will be itchy. It will feel weird. It just feels so much nicer for them to get that loose stuff out. It needs to come out at the end of the day. So, get them used to grooming, different types of grooming brushes. If you're going to be grooming on a table, get them used to going on there, put them on the table, give them a treat, take them down, start doing some bits with them. Trimming nails, get them used to that when they're really, really young, because again, it's just something that happens and it gets them used to it. The nails for most breeds will be much, much easier to cut, much thinner. So even if you've got dogs with dark nails like mine have got, which tend to be thicker, because obviously terriers, the nails are used for digging, then, when they're younger, it's still much, much easier to get through. So whether you're using clippers or guillotines or a Dremel or whatever it might be, it's much easier when they're younger. Getting them used to having examinations, that's part of socialisation. So checking in the ears, checking the eyes, opening the mouth, checking the gums, brushing teeth, get that started when they're young. Brilliant time to start it. Checking the paws and inside the paws to make sure there's nothing like the grass seeds and things in there. That's all part of socialisation. Might seem weird, but it is. Um, Getting them used to different foods. So even if you're feeding one type of food, if you're feeding wet food, dry food, raw food, whatever it might be, give them different types of things or different types of treats, at least while they're really young, so they can get used to different textures. And that way, not only is it good for the socialisation side of things, that they don't think that a biscuit's weird because they've not had one previously, it can actually help their stomach, because their stomach develops and is fine then for different types of foods. When a dog only has one type of food for a long period of time, then suddenly you introduce something different, it's more likely going to cause an upset stomach, because they've never had it. They don't know what it is. The body doesn't know what's happening. So different foods, oh my goodness, there's so many things, different sounds, just playing sounds, popping on a fireworks CD when they're really young during a game of play can be brilliant, because they just hear it. Thunder in the background, the sound of children playing, the sound of cars and motorbikes and buses going past and trains, aeroplanes, things like that. So lots of different noises can be used. Just, oh my goodness, there's just so many things. Let them see an umbrella. You might want to take it outside, but put an umbrella up and let them see that that's not scary. Wear different hats. Put your glasses on if you've got glasses, or sunglasses. If you can get hold of a high-vis jacket, put one of them on, because that's something that often freaks dogs out, because it looks different and it sounds different. If you've got waterproof over trousers, pop them on and walk around the house, because they make a different noise. Different types of shoes. If you're going to wear flip-flops in the summer, pop them on in the winter if need be. Let your dog get used to hearing them. It's literally thinking of all the different things that might look or sound or smell different to your dog. Yeah, do you see where I'm going? They can get used to that. If you've got more than one car, even though your dog might only go in one car majority of the time, it doesn't hurt to get them used to being in the other car, just in case you have to use it. Yeah. If they are, oh goodness, if they're going to get used to being in a certain room when you return to work eventually, start doing it now. Go in that room, shut the door, play with them, let them go to sleep in there, put a bed in there so they can have a nap while you're busy doing something. Yeah, get them used to it. Don't wait until they have to use it. Do it now, because again, it just becomes part of their everyday. It doesn't mean anything different. Give them a bath if need be, very, very young, to get them used to it. Put them in some water, throw in some treats to float or something. It's just making these experiences nice for them, and letting them experience as many things as you possibly can. Okay, many things as you can. So then moving on from that, it's then looking at what we can do with adult dogs. So if you've got an adult dog that maybe, it could be that they're literally turning into a senior dog, so their hearing might be a little bit different, and that can sometimes cause issues with noise. Might be that they're going a little bit deaf, so then obviously they get surprised that they suddenly see a person or a dog behind them. It might be that they have pain, they've had an injury, they've had health issues, and they're suddenly becoming responsive and reactive to different situations, and that's something that pain can cause, definitely, because they associate so many things, bless them. It could be that you've just got an adult dog that just hasn't done much, and now you want to start doing things with them. It could be a dog that you've taken on as a rescue or a rehome, or you're fostering. You may have moved house, so now you're in a new area. It might be you've got new neighbours and they are much noisier than your dog's used to. Whatever the circumstances are, if you've got an adult dog that can use a little bit of help with getting used to different experiences, one thing that you can start doing is something called play bonding. And play bonding is something that initially was created by a fabulous dog behaviourist in the UK called John Rogerson. And the play bonding itself is different to fetch and things like that. It's an interactive version of play, basically. And so what you can do, and you can start this now, you can start this today, is find something your dog likes to interact with. So if they play with toys, you can use a toy. If they're not big on toys, you can use food and you can put it into either a toy that is meant for food to go in. You can get lots of different things like that, lotus balls and things like that. You can put food in something like a purse that has a zip on it, or a pencil case with a zip on it, something that then, you know, you can sort of let your dog sniff, praise them, open the zip, take the food out, and they start associating it as being a good thing. Okay. And so then what you can do is start doing just some play. So it's just you and your dog and the item in a room, and start playing with it. And while you're playing with one hand, the other hand can stroke your dog, tickle them under the chin, scratch behind the ear, give them a belly rub, whatever it is they like. You're praising them, you're telling them they're fabulous. Oh, can you get the toy? What a good dog you are. You're brilliant. You're smiling at them. You're giving them some nice positive eye contact, and you're making the whole thing a big experience between you and your dog and the toy. You need all three elements. It's not just you chucking the toy for your dog to play with. You are part of that game. If your dog turns away while they've got the toy, then you can either just sort of gently take the toy and guide them back towards you, or if they're on a nice light lead, you can just use the lead to very gently guide them back your way, because you want them to be part of the game with you. They need to be part with you as well. Okay, it doesn't have to be long. It could be 10 seconds to start with, and you can gradually build it up. If it's with a toy, you know, interact. You can hide it behind your back. It can be a little bit of tuggy, but you still want to be talking to them and interacting and stroking and things like that. Okay. If your dog isn't big on toys, so you're using food in something, or it might be just food just wrapped up in a piece of paper, to be honest with you, anything like that. It might literally be that you just kind of show it to them, move it a couple of inches to one side, and as they move towards it to sniff, yay, that's really good, get the treat out, let them have it, give them a big fuss. Yeah. And then you do that a few more times, and maybe then you can ask them to maybe do a nose touch or to paw it. You might be able to bring it down to the ground and just move it around a little bit, so they start trying to get it with their feet. Merlin, what's the matter, mate? Good boy. Are you hearing stuff? I'm talking about how good you are. You're shouting at all sorts of things. Is it the neighbours? Is it them doing the work in their house? You're a good boy, aren't you? Yes, you are. I've lost my train of thought now, Merlin. What was I talking about? I know what I was talking about. What part was I talking about? Yeah, so they might chase it about and try and put their paw on it, perhaps, or they might try and pick it up with their mouth. Anything at all. Yeah, that's brilliant. Give a big fuss, get the treat out, let them have it. Big fuss again. You know, you can, if you want, then gradually build it up to being more of a play, or you can keep it as that. That's absolutely fine. But do something like that, because the play bonding is really great at working with your dog and increasing the bond and the relationship that you have, getting the focus on you, and getting the adrenaline at a nice level so that your dog is more likely to be able to cope with things. And then the play bonding you can do in different places, different areas of the house. So they can be doing that while they're hearing different things. So for Merlin, you're right, mate. For Merlin, who can just about hear what the neighbours are doing, I could do some play bonding in this room now, and then I could go through to my kitchen, which is next to their house, and do the play bonding there, so he's closer to the sound and get him used to it, and the fact that there's nothing to bother him about, and move that on. So you can use it in the house, you can use it in the garden, you can take your item out on a walk, and if there's maybe people in the distance and they're a bit unsure, you can literally just turn around, go the other way, get the toy out on a bit of grass verge perhaps, and have a quick game. Give them a couple of treats, do something fun, do some twists and spins with them, or cross the road and do it. So always give them space. But you can, you know, start building some positive associations with them even now, and help them start their journey to feeling more comfortable with these new experiences or whatever it might be. So this doesn't obviously replace full-on behaviour work. If your dog is absolutely petrified of other dogs, and they are trying to get away and they try and get out of the collar, and they're basically darting behind walls so they don't have to pass another dog and things like that, they're less likely to want to play when there's a dog close by. You might need to put in lots and lots of distance. But certainly it can be something that once you've passed that dog, the other dog, you could then get a toy out or a treat out and start doing a little bit of play with your dog then, so that the experience they've had finishes with something more positive, and then that can help them to recover that little bit quicker. Yeah. So it's things like that that you can start doing with your dogs right now. If it's the sound of something that they worry about, then, can you play a sound on your phone really, really quietly in a different room and just start building them up, for example. Merlin, what is it, darling? What are you looking at? Hey, I don't know. I'm just making a fuss now. Just trying to get treats out, you love. So if you have got an older dog and you're finding that they're changing, sort of, they're more nervous about things, or they're more barky, or whatever it might be, again, do experiences with them, teach them to look at you. So you can maybe go outside in the garden with them with a handful of treats or a piece of their food, and just anytime they glance at you, big smile, big thumbs up, because obviously they can't hear you, and give them a bit of treat, so that they learn that actually looking at you is a good thing, because then you could be telling them it's fine. You can, if it's pain related, get a vet check, make sure they're okay. It might be that they need something like chiropractor or acupuncture or massage, all the many different things that you can be doing with dogs just to help them out somewhere. So I know from Merlin and from some of the dogs I work with when I do my canine fitness work, that a lot of the dogs that I normally work with haven't had what they normally have during lockdown. Some of them I've been able to continue via online, because I know the owner is really good at interpreting what I want them to do, that the dog's been doing it for a long time, that I know the dog well, I know the body well, I know what happens with them. Thank you, Ripley. Ripley's just burped into the microphone, haven't you, baby girl? Hey, mwah, you're such a lady, aren't you? Such a lady. You're now leaving. You did that just to burp into the microphone, did you? Brilliant. Who'd have a dog? Who'd have a dog? Yeah, so I know I can work with them, but I also know that so many of them are more likely to react to a dog in the distance, or not be happy with someone stroking them, for example. They might growl at someone stroking them if they're feeling pain or discomfort somewhere, and you help them with that pain or discomfort, and they're quite happy to go back to how they were again. It's just that it's self-preservation. They're trying to make sure that they're okay. And if they know that they've got a pain somewhere, or that they're a little bit lame somewhere, and there's a dog coming that they don't know, well, potentially that could be a bad situation for them. If someone's trying to stroke them, or if you're trying to stroke them even, and that you're about to put your hand in an area that's really sore, then they might well tell you off, or bark, or move away, or snap round to try and get your hand away from that area, because they don't want to feel that pain, not because they're being aggressive. They're just not sure what else to do. They might have looked a couple of times at that area, they might have moved out of the way, but they've continued being stroked. Well, I don't know what else to do because this is hurting me now. I'll snap. Yeah. So if you're finding your dog is acting differently, it's not always a social thing. It can be that there's pain there. So just check that out as well. But again, they can build associations from that actually, but some dogs, if they come towards me, I might feel pain at that time. I don't want that dog coming towards me, even though the pain's not there now. We might then just need to do a little bit of work with them to make it nice and fun and a nice experience. So this has happened, they're not happy, they're in pain. Okay, but I know they like this, so let's do this instead. I know they like a little bit of a massage. I know they like to have, I don't know, a chew or something. Let's give them that straight after. So you can build them positive associations for them. And maybe make some of those experiences a little bit shorter, try and keep distance, things like that. And your dog will really appreciate it, because they'll see that you're trying to help them, and they're not having to go into these situations. So yeah, so socialization, it's a big topic, it's a big thing. What you're doing with your dogs at this point can make a difference to their future, whether it's a puppy or an older dog or a senior dog. It will make a difference to the future that they have. So help them out. And like I say, if you would like the webinar, or I'll share it, actually I'll pop it on Twitter, and I might pop it on the Facebook page as well. So have a look, or you can ask for it. So like I say, dog training for Essex and Suffolk on Facebook. We're on Instagram and on Twitter under @Cass&Tay, so CASSNTAY. That's from my first two dogs, Cass and Taylor. Also, Dog Desk Radio, obviously, are on Twitter. Dog Desk Animal Action on Facebook, and Dog Desk Radio on Instagram as well. So you can ask questions via all of those, and I can obviously then give you the link for that, which has also got the download attached to it. So socialization, work with your dogs, help them out, and it will benefit them so much in the future. So I think, thank you, Merlin. Merlin says he thinks it's about time we had another bit of music, really. Do you think? Yeah, I think so too.